Welcome to Strip Cover Lit, where we squeeze the bigger picture of literature. I'm Adrian Ford.
And I'm Dalton Gentry.
And we are here for some garbage that we've been garbaging on with for far too garbage long.
Harry Potter. Adrian reads Harry Potter. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, chapters 21 and 22. We're finally going to figure out where the namesake comes from. We're going to learn about the Deathly Hallows this week. I hope you're ready for it. You feeling good? Okay. Let me break this down a little bit for you here. We have chapter 21, The Tale of the Three Brothers. This comes from the Beetle the Bard book that Hermione was gifted to by Dumbledore. We learn about the Deathly Hallows and find that Death Eaters have captured Luna, and Xenophilius is using Harry basically to attempt to get in on their graces to try to get Luna back, basically as bait. The kids narrowly escape, again, as the Death Eaters swarm the house. And we get away, and we move into chapter 22, the Deathly Hallows. Hermione doesn't buy the idea of the Deathly Hallows, the three objects of power, but we can assume at this point that Voldemort is searching for that Elder Wand, since the wands keep coming back in. The kids discover the Potter Watch radio station, and Harry accidentally says Voldemort, and the kids narrowly escape. Again.
That's not where we end. We end and they're being held hostage. They don't escape. Yeah, come out with your hands up.
Let's be honest.
There's no escape, Dalton.
Let's be honest.
They might die, right?
Let's be honest.
They can have some hope.
No, it's a little disappointing moving into these two chapters because that's exactly how we ended the first chapter.
Yeah.
Death Eaters swarm, escape. And the chapter before that, Death Eaters swarm, escape. That's where we're going with this. Death Eaters swarm, escape. So, Adrian, let's talk Deathly Hallows. How are you feeling about that? How are you feeling about these three object of power that we have the wand, we have the resurrection stone, and the cloak of invisibility? How are you feeling about that? A bit of mythos to the Harry Potter universe.
It's a bit fucking late, isn't it?
You know, that's one of my points for you here. Just right here, now that we are looking for Horcruxes halfway through this book, let's just add three more magical objects right in here.
That I don't know if these rid the Horcruxes of worth because these are to escape death, but I don't know what we're doing or where we're going. Does that make sense?
Well, again, looking in the genre of fantasy literature, objects of power are always a thing.
Yeah,
the greatest
absolutely.
sword, the greatest wand, the magic rock, all kinds of magical stuff. So we have a mythos that's been built here, and it's kind of alluded to that most children would understand this tale, so it seems bizarre that just now this is all coming to fruition.
Well, and from a writer perspective, you can sort of understand because she's literally making this up as she goes. You can see that with how the magic itself works.
Okay.
Right? She's literally making this up as she goes. So when you have an idea like this, you want to get it into the series, but we're already 7 books in. We've already got a certain mission that we're going for, but, why not? We're writing our own checks at this point, aren't we?
Okay.
The movies have been starting by now, haven't they?
Oh, yeah. I think we're well into the movies by this point.
So she's not only writing for a paycheck, she's writing for a deadline because those movies are coming hot off the presses.
And know that this book was just so good and so chock full of important scenes, they split it into 2 movies.
Well, of course they did.
Part 1, Part 2. This was actually one of the first ones they ever did the Part 1, Part 2 with.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's really kicked it off for the Marvel Cinematic Universe doing that Part 1, Part 2 with the Infinity Gauntlet saga. But that's beyond the point. Nothing important there. Let me just get over that. So we have these 3 objects of power. We have the wand, we have the cloak, we have the stone. We can infer at this point and accept the fact that Harry Potter is in possession of the cloak. This great invisibility cloak that seems to do better than any other invisibility cloak. It doesn't just displace and kind of confuse. It actually turns you invisible. So Harry Potter had received this cloak from his father, passed down. This is an object of great power here. And at one point they even mentioned that they would think that they could access the resurrection stone as well. Maybe it's hidden in an object, perhaps the snitch. That would be why maybe they had the snitch. And then we are also assuming that Voldemort is out looking for the wand.
Well, Voldemort had the ring, right? Or had the stone because that was the ring, wasn't it? Am I putting that together wrong?
No, it was mentioned that perhaps the stone would have been with the ring, like been the stone in the ring.
Yeah.
Because I can't. Is it Peverell?
Peverell.
The Peverell family was
Peverell.
actually Peverell. Were descendants of the Gaunt family, and Voldemort is descendant of the Gaunt family. So there seems to be
an old family ring.
Correct. There seems to be a bit of lineage that could put this together that he may be in possession of the stone as well. It may have been part of the ring. So we have this idea that we're basically going on another quest now, and that other quest is going to be finding objects in order to complete the quest to find objects.
I wish I'd had a bit more time to do research on this, because when you think about it, the wand, the cloak, and the stone, basically a sword, armor, and a shield.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I wonder if there is some connection to be had with a greater mythos over a sword, armor, and a shield that are magically endowed.
Now, I don't know from a literary standpoint, but that's definitely something in fantasy literature and big in video game culture as well. The perfect set of armor. You know, you get the exact set of armor, each one contributes to the other, and you become the best if you have the entire set. And we can assume that's what we're looking at this point. Somebody's looking to get all three objects of power, so they are the master of death, if you will.
Yeah.
But we do get the little bit of the backstory, the idea of the three brothers story, where these were gifted items, and each item did its purpose. Kind of a monkey's paw style story there, where, you know, I wanted to be...
Be careful what you wish for.
Be careful what you wish for. I wanted to be the most powerful, so I got a wand, and it got me killed. I wanted to cheat death, but when I realized cheating death was a terrible thing, I killed myself. And then I wanted to, you know, get away from death. I wanted to escape. And then I welcomed death at that point, because I accepted it.
I was a little bit surprised to see how dark that story went.
Okay.
It was not just death, right? Death, I mean, that pops up in all sorts of kids' tales. There was suicide involved.
There was.
Suicide is a little bit... Suicide's a little bit next level when it comes to darkness, right?
It is. We talked a little bit way back when I took a class on Harry Potter in our undergrad. This was actually my final paper. The concept of the Deathly Hallows, how that mythos built upon the literature, and we'll get into a little bit more of that, how I concluded that paper later on. But I think there's some good stuff to be worked with here. And I think if we dig deep enough, we're going to see a lot of representation coming forward, and a lot of symbolism with these objects, with the characters. We'll get there.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, we've got three characters, we've got three objects.
We'll get there.
Okay.
We'll get there.
I'm assuming that Harry Potter is the wand because he's the brave one. I would assume that Ron is the cloak because no one ever seems to notice him.
No.
And Hermione would be the stone because she's hard-headed. I don't know.
Not so much, but good try.
Hermione sucks even more as a character as we go forward.
Okay.
She is just a doting mother. In fact, the one thing that I really hated from this section was the scene where she gets them out of the house, and she does it by letting the Death Eaters see Harry first.
But not Ron.
Harry, but not Ron. But that's not a heroic way to do things.
Okay.
The heroic way to do things is to burst in.
Guns a-blazing.
Guns a-blazing. There's just two Death Eaters. You know what I mean? And obviously, that old man isn't taking care of two Death Eaters, so he'd have the excuse. Of course, Harry Potter was here. These two guys are stone. You know what I mean? They're stone dead.
The way it was all executed, though, it seems so far-fetched because at this point we see Hermione as a tactical genius. Because in just, like, complete combat situation, she's like, you know what? Here's this perfectly executed plan. I'm going to let them see us so they know we're here. So they don't punish Xenophilius, but not see Ron, so Ron's not known to be with us. It is either that Hermione is a tactical genius and this has completely been wasted up until this point, or it's just ridiculous.
Well, it's just ridiculous because it's not even... J.K. Rowling is not a strategic thinker.
Okay.
As long as you save Xenophilius, who gives a good goddamn about what the Death Eaters that come next are going to do? So you've got two Death Eaters there. What's a world with two less Death Eaters? A better world.
Okay.
So you take care of those two bastards.
See, that's always the question with the Harry Potter series, is we always see the good guys using the stunning spells. Good guys don't kill people. And again, with children's literature, good guys don't kill people. But when we're given this situation where they're going to kill you, you're going to kill them back.
Yeah.
You're going to kill them back first.
You don't think... Exactly. So I don't know. It strikes me as unauthentic.
It is. It's like the object, like we're 20 paces apart from each other and I pull a gun on you. Do you try to shoot the gun or you just shoot me?
Yeah.
you do what you got to do in this situation. So it seems a little bit ridiculous.
I
That's
shoot
fine.
Dalton 3 times and then plant a gun on him because he didn't have one.
He just pulled his hands out real fast. Anyway, do we fault Xenophilius?
Well, this is probably the best character moment in the entire series to this point.
Good. I wanted to bring that up because I feel like absolutely not. You can't fault the man in this.
No.
Doing what he can to try to get his daughter back. And by God, he's moving things forward. He's helping them out while helping himself. He's doing everything he can for the greater good to make sure that Luna is safe. So I feel like we can't fault Xenophilius, even though
he's doing everything he can for them.
He's letting them know about the Deathly Hallows. He's putting them on this right path, giving them the information that they're obviously going to be needing.
Okay.
That's the title of the book. But while he's doing so, he's also looking out for his own interests, trying to make sure he can get Luna back. Let's stall until we can get the Death Eaters here. I have Harry. This is what we need.
Yeah.
So I think Xenophilius is absolutely a sympathetic character at this point.
Yeah.
It's well done, and we can give credit where credit is due.
We get a little bit deeper into that unfortunate extended metaphor of the lesser people just being born lesser, with all of this encouragement that we have from other magicians that you should help muggles.
Okay.
Right? There's this broadcast, and it's so hard to say these things and not come across in the wrong fashion. During World War II, there was obviously a network of people who were helping Jews, and there were also people who were not connected to any network, but were risking themselves, their lives, their families, to help these people. This is extending that unfortunate metaphor in the way that you're equating muggles even more deeply with a persecuted people, right?
Okay.
Which means that they are lesser, which is basically just equating people like... So in this direct metaphor, Jews,
okay,
this is J.K. Rowling saying they're just born lesser, right?
Sucks to be them.
And they have to be looked out for.
Okay.
And us good guys have to remind each other to look out for them. Because everyone else is trying to persecute them, and they are not good enough on their own to get through that. Right?
Okay.
It's also extending that unfortunate metaphor in the way that not only is Big Brother looking out for you, and the good guys for you unfortunate souls, but we have to remind each other at the same time. There's this scene where they say all human lives are equal, right? Or worth the same. But they're obviously not equal.
Okay.
Right? Because these people, these muggles, are born less competent, less able, are born with less ability. And that's just... It's a direct metaphor, right? There is a one-for-one translation from these scenes to the World War II thing.
Okay. And we've had that reoccurring quite a bit throughout the series. I've always find it kind of bizarre that the idea of the wizarding world keeps themselves secret from the muggle world.
Right.
I don't understand why.
Because you have to have the series.
Well, you have to have series. Besides the fact that, it just needs to be there. No. Yeah, wholeheartedly. I mean, if you were in this situation, what's the big deal? What are they going to do to you?
Right.
So, yeah, absolutely. Even in that aspect, you're looking at these would be considered inferior people.
Yeah.
And that's directly what J.K. Rowling's getting at.
Yeah, it's not even... It's unfortunate because it's so ham-fisted, right? It is so ham-fisted and so direct, a one-for-one translation, that you can't argue around it, can you?
Okay.
You can't argue around it. That has to be what she was setting up.
Okay.
And it is unfortunate that she's putting that out there in that way. Now, I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the show. Jin from Iffer's Inklings came through Kansas City, and we got presents.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited and ultimately disappointed. But I feel like I'm going to continue to wear it
You're going to have to.
I'm going to have to because it was a gift. But isn't that just gorgeous?
What's it say, Dalton?
It says Potter stinks. So we wear it with pride and representation as we move further through the series.
Yeah.
I hope we can get this series stinks for every series that we do with Harry Potter. Until we just have like a Boy Scout vest.
We need strip cover lit stinks.
We do.
Pens.
We can move up in the world.
But here's the thing. We talk about this extended metaphor, and we talk about how unfortunate it is that J.K. seems to have not completely thought it through.
Okay.
Seems to have not completely done the math on this. But we get on 409 a quote that tells us everything we need to know about this. You know what quote I'm going for?
I don't. Lay it on me.
Well, of course not, said Xenophilius, maddeningly smug.
Maddeningly.
That is a children's tale, told to amuse rather than to instruct. Tells us everything we need to know about whether or not Harry Potter was written as literature.
Okay. Just wrap that up right there. Put a
wrap
bow
that
on
up
it.
right there. She's just throwing ideas around. She has no idea what she's doing.
Okay.
Fuck it, throw on the page.
So let's move on a little bit. Let's talk about this idea of a radio broadcast, the Potter Watch Radio. Again, we always have this problem that comes forward. Like, if you can use magic, why wouldn't you use magic? And at this point, it could be inferred that, maybe we're not using magic because we're trying to hide. I get it. But if Voldemort has become so powerful at this point that even the mere mention of his name will summon the baddies to come get you, radio? Really? You can't just pick up that radio frequency with that little wooden antenna that you run around with anyway?
Who knows, Dalton?
It seems a little ridiculous.
I'm telling you, it's made up as it goes. There's no rules for this.
Okay.
It's not constructed. It's just sort of brought up as we need it.
It's a little disappointing because we do get a decent chapter with Xenophilius, and I think it's done well. I think Xenophilius, you put it in a good way, has a good character moment. And it feels like JK's been writing, it's just Harry, it's just Ron, it's just Hermione for so long. She's like, you know what? How do I get everybody else involved in radio? Yeah. Let's talk to everybody else through the radio. So we do get a little bit more of the going-ons, what we're looking at here, but not really even a good glimpse into it. It just seems just schluffed in there because I didn't know what to put into this chapter.
This entire book has felt that way, has it not? So literature is not normally written with an outline. Right? Okay. That seems to be more of a genre thing because we have to do so much constructing, and genre-type literature is not normally as character-focused as is literary fiction. So literary fiction, it doesn't really matter where you go on the page. It's about the inner turmoil. Okay. That's sort of why you get that delineation between genre and literary fiction. Literary fiction, it matters just as much where we're going on the page. So a lot of genre writers will write with an outline because you need that direction, you need that structure for the plot to progress. The other books in this series seemed very paint by numbers. Seemed very much that J.K. Rowling had sat down, made an outline for the novel, and followed it point for point, whether or not the writing on the page was ready to be there. This feels very much the opposite. It feels very much like J.K. Rowling sat down and said, all right, I got 3 characters to play with, and I got a whole novel, baby. Where are we going? And she just didn't stop.
Okay.
How many chapters have we had to this point that are...
Let's wander through the woods.
2 or 3 characters in the woods come up to a problem, a minor problem.
Solve it.
They solve it. And then they retreat into their tent. And someone's watching guard.
Yeah.
I mean, how much of this book is that so far? We are 450 pages in-ish. 200 pages of it, at least, are wandering through the woods aimlessly.
So if memory serves me, I believe when J.K. Rowling was talking about, like, when this novel was completed, she was talking about the writing process and, finishing it up. She said something along the lines that she had written the ending for the book years prior. Like, she knew the ending.
Yeah.
So, like, I think you might be right with that. Like, she has this point here, this lighthouse, this beacon, and she's like, now how the fuck do I get there? And how do I stretch getting there for 700 pages? Because this is all I have left to do it with. So I think that might be accurate. It seems like she has this point she's trying to get to, and she's just filling at this point.
A destination without an outline.
A destination without an outline. Because
a destination without a roadmap.
I can understand the first few books where we're building things, we're working up, even all the way to the Goblet of Fire. We have that Triwizard Tournament, that big culminating moment. At that point is when you should start introducing Horcruxes. Because then you have 3 books. 3 books for this journey to get to. Not, we're going to make this all fit into the last 200 pages.
Yeah. I hope that J.K. Rowling is very much of the mindset today that if I had the whole series to write over again, I would do it differently. Because this is very poorly constructed.
Okay.
This is very poorly constructed.
Now here's a question. If J.K. slings a new book, Potter or not Potter, should we read it?
No.
To see if she developed?
No.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. She had several, hasn't she? She's had Casual Vacancy, which no one liked.
No one liked. And that's really the only one I think she's slung.
I thought she had one more.
Did she?
I think, but I'm not 100% positive, so don't quote me. But
So we're going to have to look into
one more book.
I don't know. And that does seem to be a big thing with children's authors, young adult authors. They write this huge series that just booms. It goes insane. Look at Stephanie Meyer and Twilight. Such a big deal. They try to start writing different genres. They try to start writing for adults and fail miserably. I know Stephanie Meyer, I think she was the one who went under a pseudonym for a while. She wrote The Host. I'm not sure if that was pseudonym or not. Maybe I'm speaking out of my ass. But it seems like every time they try to mix it up and try to write an actual literary book, it flops. And it is awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Don't know where we're going with that? Just venting?
No. You're absolutely correct as far as I can tell.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure there's instances where it's worked. I'm sure that there's instances where it's worked the other way. Shel Silverstein, for example, started writing for Playboy, didn't he?
Shel Silverstein actually wrote all the lyrics for Dr. Hook, the band.
Okay.
You ever heard, the cover of the Rolling Stones?
I've heard of it.
Shel Silverstein.
Okay.
Yeah. So Shel Silverstein had a weird life, man.
Yeah, but what I'm talking about is that he started, I think, writing adult stuff and then moved to children's stuff.
Okay.
That's going to ruin this.
Absolutely. Would you like me to shut that off because I can now? Excuse me. Excuse me while I shut that off.
So I'm sure that there are examples where things like that have worked. I don't know them. If you know them, leave them in the comment section below.
Well, there are also examples of authors who were writing primarily science fiction or primarily for children doing quite well, doing successful. I don't know how you feel about her specifically, but I'm pretty sure you've read her, Ursula K. Le Guin.
I have not.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Big deal in our English program because the head of the program wrote his doctorate thesis on Ursula K. Le Guin. So very infused into our program, but I've never read Ursula Le Guin.
Okay. And it could be argued as well, there are some good science fiction writers out there. I think Frank Herbert wrote Dune. Dune's considered a big piece of the canon of greater literature.
We've said on the show before, we've never known anyone who made it through.
Yeah, absolutely not. Have you seen Dune? It looks daunting.
Yeah.
Anyway, at this point, I'm not sure what else we could really talk about here. Let's speculate a little bit. People like a little speculation.
So I was wondering if Moldavort was in possession of the Elder Wand, and that was the one that the boy had stolen. The boy, was it a boy? It was just a weird vision.
It was that flashback scene, the blonde hair.
Yeah.
Thief.
Yeah.
Okay.
If that's why that wand was stolen, it's because it was the Elder Wand, so it was that powerful. And that after that could have begun the great descent of Moldavort into the non-humanoid that he is currently.
Okay. I'm actually very concerned because I said, let's speculate a little bit. You literally went right into my speculation of where is the wand. Because we don't have much about the Resurrection Stone at this point in time, so back burner. We have a good idea that Harry has the cloak, but Voldemort seems to be seeking wands. He's hunting down wand makers. It's all about wands, so clearly that's what he's doing. So maybe that's the case there. Maybe the wand has absconded with the blonde-haired thief, and that started the descent for Voldemort. We're definitely going to get that answer. We're going to find that out. That's coming for sure.
I also wonder if that was the Resurrection Stone which Diddledore had stolen from Moldavort in the ring. if that was why his arm was messed up, was because of the resurrection stone, and if so, who was Diddledor trying to resurrect?
Okay.
Who was he trying to bring back?
And that leads to the next question, a little more speculation. If we do possess the stone, who do we resurrect at this point? If we are the main character, if Voldemort gets it, or if Harry gets it, who do you turn to? Who do you go for?
I imagine Moldavort. Is Grindelwald dead?
Yes.
Grindelwald was a big bad guy, right?
Yep. He was Voldemort before Voldemort.
Yeah, so I imagine he would have a second in command. If you're Harry Potter, I think the immediate inclination is to resurrect one's parents, but I think that the speculation earlier in the story that being resurrected is not very fun would cause Harry Potter not to do so, but we would have a paragraph in there where he's contemplating it.
Wouldn't that be magnificent, though, if he resurrected his parents and it just fucking broke him?
What do you mean it broke him?
Well, I mean, the resurrection wasn't fun. His parents were suffering.
Yeah.
Like, he was the reason for their suffering. Wouldn't that be glorious? Let's be honest, that's not going to happen.
No.
Okay. Anything else you want to touch on here with Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows? Chapters 21, 22?
Peverell brothers, Antioch. Do you know why Antioch would be the name of one of the Peverell brothers?
I don't.
Antioch was apparently the site for the first Christian church.
Okay.
The first church that was resurrected to worship Christ as the Savior was in Antioch.
Interesting. Strange choice there, JK.
I don't know if that plays into anything, but
that's a pretty obscure name just to be like, why not Antioch?
Yeah, but I mean, it was a big Greek city as well.
Okay.
So there might be, I'm sure there's millions of things that could be the reason why, but we seem to be looking into Christian things with this book time and time again. Cadmus was another of the Peverell brothers. Cadmus was a great slayer of beasts in Greek mythology. I think he was before Hercules.
Okay.
I think he was one of the great slayers of beasts before Hercules. And Ignotus, which translated is I forgive.
Okay.
So these names all have sort of Greek leanings, I believe, right?
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess if you're trying to get like a bit of a historical feel or an older feel to your name, always go Greek.
Yeah. Yeah. The us's and you know what I mean?
Yeah. It makes you feel good about yourself when you don't want to
Us
put
is
any work
an
into the
ox.
character.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is Adrian Reed's Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, chapters 21 and 22. And we will be back next week with 2 more chapters of Adrian Reed's Harry Potter. So if you like this kind of thing, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. Give this video a like, just for the simple fact that we are almost through with the series, and that makes you a very happy man. And if you do like this kind of thing and want to help us create more great content like this here on Strip Cover Lit, there is a link, as always, to our Patreon and our Amazon merch to be found in the description below. It's really fucking weird looking at yourself the entire time.
Isn't it?